Hello, hello, hello. Love the hair, babe.
You're lucky I got out of bed.
Oh, fantastic night to be up and about, isn't it? Ladies and gentlemen, my wife is exhausted. She had a long day today, and I did too. But I'm in a more chipper mood than she is. Yes. And so happy Tuesday, Tuesday Night Live. I'm Patrick.
I'm Megan.
We're the Breakaway Homestead. We are glad that you're here with us tonight. We got 5 people watching right now, and getting ready for tonight's show. So tonight's show is about self-sufficiency and what you need. Well, I'll take that back. It is about that, but it's not going to cover all the topics. If you were to cover a broad spectrum of everything you need to be self-sufficient, we'd be here for a while.
I'd be going back to bed.
And there'd be a lot more notes to be taken to do that. So specifically, what we're talking about is the amount of land you need and caloric intake and basically food that you would require for 4 people for the year. So basic household, usually 4 people, and everything okay?
Yeah, I put on live chat instead of top chat.
Emily Bodiger. Hi, how's it going? Just catching up on the chat. Yeah, Chip Signal and I were talking about the current Democrat debate that's going on right now, apparently on TV.
We don't have cable, so
We could watch if we wanted to, but we really don't want to.
I was asleep, so.
So, yeah. So,
Alright.
long day?
It's been a long week. It's
Yes.
only Tuesday.
It's only Tuesday. Couple things that's going on in the homestead. We're still trying to make bread.
No.
Yes.
We
Okay.
made bread.
3, 4. This was the fourth run of
Fourth run of bread.
bread. Okay.
Yeah, the
it's the fourth run.
first 3 did not.
The first set of bread. So we
do
want to
anything.
make our own bread. We bought a.
We talked about this last week or the week before.
Week before, we bought a mixer to make our own bread.
We talked about sometimes you have to put a little bit out to make more in the long run, like save more, which puts more money in your pocket.
Right.
So we got all this stuff to make bread.
You look so tired.
I'm exhausted, honey. Like my eyeballs aren't focusing at the same rate at this point. I'm just gonna talk with my eyes closed. It's easier. And so we tried to make bread. First recipe we were following, it rose the first time.
No, it did.
I thought it rose the first time, but not the second time.
No, the second time was bad. So, the first time it turned out to be bricks. Did not rise at all. Second time it rose a little bit, but it sat in the microwave overnight. And come to find out, our yeast
was like 3 years expired.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, we'll try that again.
So we tried it with a little packet.
And it rose, and it was a little bit spongier.
But we just it didn't have the right texture. We didn't even bother baking it because it was just
No, we baked it. It just, we tried to slice it up, and it dried out very quickly, and it crumbled up.
And then the fourth one, we actually tried, the first time we tried a different recipe.
We used the Amish sweetbread recipe from Big Family Homestead. It was an older video.
We've done some of their other breads before, like their
French
Italian
bread
or French bread is
awesome.
And so we've done their recipes. They're easy to follow. We know that if you can make them, they're legit. So we went with that, and it's damn good bread. We were like eating it out of the oven.
We ate about a loaf of it, and we were good.
Yeah.
Roughly over the
No, I did not disagree.
So I took one of the loaves and I sliced it up, sliced really well. Put it in a bag. Next day, brittle and brick. Like it fell apart.
Yeah. But, okay, so we had the 2 loaves. The one that we sliced up, like once it had cooled down and everything, was, I mean, it was still soft. It wasn't hard, but I'm actually quite comfortable. Thank you for asking. and but it was breaking. Like I tried to make the kid a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and it just like crumbled apart, and he wouldn't eat it. However, the other loaf that we didn't cut up was fine.
Right.
So we're kind of like, okay, do we just cut it as we need it, or do we keep looking for a recipe?
Yeah, I think we're going to keep looking for recipes. The first recipes we needed.
She said Living Traditions has a great Dutch oven recipe.
Yeah, Chip Signal said he's also got a bread recipe.
Yeah, because ours with the Dutch oven, like we're actually trying, like we
want
got
to make
loaf
loaves. We want
pans.
we want to make loaves, so it has to be. I mean, bread,
like Huxley is very particular about how his sandwiches are,
Right.
and so we kind of like the point was to make loaves.
The first recipes we did were like kind of like milk white bread recipes.
Chip used my favorite word.
Moist. Scoping.
That's gross.
Yes.
I'm gonna go back to bed.
So you're not going back to bed.
Yeah. Why not?
Because you have an obligation to these folks here.
No, I don't. I have an obligation to my pillow.
Yeah. So, no, you don't have an obligation, but you want to be here because it's Tuesday night.
Speak for yourself.
Speak for myself. So I did all the homework for tonight.
He did. I have almost zero clue what we're talking about.
Subject matter was talked about last week. We brought it up. What else happened? We got stuff for soap making today.
You left the dog outside, you ass!
Quick, guys, I gotta show you this. Say hey, May. Apparently, I left the dog outside. So, apparently it's my job to keep an eye on the dog, which it's not. She lets him out. I didn't let the dog out. She didn't let him in. Her in. So, is it my fault that the dog was out and I didn't let her in? I don't know. It's always the guy's fault. Hi, May. How are you? You doing good? Yeah? Did you have a good time outside? Yeah, you did.
I was like, what the hell is on our porch?
Hey, let me ask you a question. Who let the dog out?
You did.
Oof.
Because I had to poo. I'm going to go make sure she didn't get into anything. I'll be back in a minute.
She didn't get in.
You don't know that. She got in with the I Am Samanis the other day.
Yeah, okay.
I want to double check.
Oh, I forgot what I was talking about. But yeah, no, we got essential oils in today so we can make ourselves, that's plumber's glue, by the way, make ourselves our own soap. That's the next big thing we're going to make ourselves is some soap. And something to wake us up. And so we got essential oils for that. So I'm going to go ahead and get started without her because she knows what we're talking about. She doesn't know what's happening. But we'll go ahead and get started. So tonight we're going to be talking about self-sufficiency. Two topics are how much land you need and the food that you can be growing or should be growing as far as simplicity and caloric intake. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. My sources are from the internet, of course. I got the Essential Guide for Self-Sufficient Gardening with 17 staple crops. And that is from morningchores.com. And we're going to go over that and see what we can get, what kind of information we can gather from that, and what we can extrapolate from that and add to it. And we're going to start tonight with a visual to look and see exactly what other folks think we need for self-sufficiency. And that's individual, family. What we're going to talk about tonight is exactly for 4 people, for a 4-person family. And so you'll have to adjust accordingly. And we'll go in a few different directions. So I'm going to put my screen capture on for my other display. And you can see I got a lot of people watching right now. And put this up there. I know it's tiny, We'll go ahead and fix it. We'll bring it up and make it bigger. Possibly. Doesn't help that it's not clearing up. Hello. Wait, everything is slowed down. How about y'all? I got a nice computer, and it's being slow. The whole thing is being slow. Everything, my computer at work, my phone, this computer here, everything is just slow, and so it's catching up. So let's give it a second. Do 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 do. Hopefully you can work so I can teach this. What is going on? Photos is not responding. Of course it's not. There we go. Oh, are we? Oh, nope. Yep, nope. We lost it. We lost it. All right, give me a second, folks. My computer is going through some crazy stuff. Hopefully you guys can hear me or see me. All right. All right, so just give me 1 second, folks. The computer just went on a fritz here for a quick second. I'm going to open this up. Everything is like jacking up. Has your computer been slow lately, like at work?
No.
Like mine has. Open that and move this over.
I can't believe you left her outside.
I didn't leave her outside, and I did not let her out.
Yes,
I do
you
not let the
did.
dog out. You did.
Pat, I told you. I said,
Okay.
I need to poop. May needs to go outside. And you said, okay. And you went
That's true.
outside and you turned the pool
You're
off
right.
and you turned the
You
chicken
are
light
right.
off.
It's on here. They can
Y'all
hear
heard
you,
that?
but they can't see you.
Whatever, you heard it. It's official. He said it twice.
So nice. He said it twice. All right.
I like those graphics.
Aren't they great? It'd be nice if they'd work instead of do not shake.
I'm sorry.
Instead of just do whatever they think they need to do, because it's really annoying that.
You can't scroll it?
I'm trying to scroll it. It's not that. This thing keeps freezing. And we are back. It's so weird. I just wish it would work. Meow.
Oh,
Yeah.
now it's all gone.
It's all gone. All
What
right,
just
folks.
happened?
I don't know.
Are you there?
All right, so we're here now. Talk
Hi.
about self-sufficiency.
Yes.
I'm trying to get this graphic up so we can go over it. And this, well, look at the graphic, folks. This is a legal piece of paper. It is a large graphic. I added my notes to it, and hopefully I can get it open because it's really freaking nice. So, what do we do for self-sufficiency here?
Like, you mean like the chickens?
Like, legitimately, although all the things we have so far for self-sufficiency, if the power were to go out tomorrow, what would we have to rely on? What would you say we don't have to rely on?
I would say right now are severely lacking in the vegetable department.
Yes.
We have grains, we have rice, stuff like that. We'd be okay. We have our chickens, we have our quail, we have our turkeys, we have our rabbits, so like protein, meat, things like that. We'd be okay. We
I
don't
think
have
we'd
any.
get by.
Yeah, we don't.
I
have
think
any,
we'd have enough to barter. Sorry.
You asked me, and then
I
you
did ask you. I'm sorry.
plowed through me. We have no dairy.
No, we don't. But we have a neighbor with a cow.
I think he'd get mad if we appropriated his cow.
I think he'd settle for a rabbit or two. Gary, it's your cats destroying shit. That's all. All right. What's going on here? I give up. About to. You're supposed to be talking.
I'm sorry, I was reading the chat. I heard the meteor storms were supposed to be pretty cool, but we did not watch one. We've seen them before in the past. There was like an old airport we used to go out to and watch them. Where did we get the oils from?
So what?
The oils. I don't know. Apparently, you talked about oils, and Jason would like to know. And
we get our oils from pipingrock.com, which probably won't happen again.
No, because it took forever.
We ordered our stuff on the 22nd of July.
It just came in today.
Just came in today. It's kind of ridiculous. All right, looks like it's working, honey. Hooray!
Nice. Hurry up and do it now.
Right. All right, so let's get the screen capture up here so you guys can see exactly what we're looking at on this other screen here. So the title of this graphic is How Big a Backyard Do You Need to Live Off the Land? More and more people are turning away from grocery stores and utility companies in favor of their own backyards. The idea of becoming self-sufficient is an all-alluring one, but exactly how much land would you need? Assuming a family of 4, here are the land requirements to sustain yourself for 1 year. And so let's scroll down to this portion right here. So this graphic is pretty good. I like it a lot because it's colorful and it's very informative. It's talking about first thing you need is power. Now, if you guys are a big fan of Canadian Prepper, he put out a video the day before yesterday about the upcoming I think the title of the video is the next human extinction event, and it talks about the lack of power in the future and self-sufficiency. Megan wants to do this. I know she does.
I want to really bad.
So what this graphic talks about is what you need to live to have sustainable power at your residence. And so 1 year of electricity requires 375 square feet. Needless, of course,
I don't even know what that
it's
is.
your cats. They're playing. Of course, it's going to be on top of your roof, so you really don't have to worry about the square footage. If you're in an apartment, something like that, kind of screwed either way. But if you own your house and you want to do this, it's a great idea to do. And this is something Megan and I go back and forth on.
I really
at
want
least
to.
twice a year.
No, more than that. I keep pushing for it because we have the perfect property to put the solar panels on the south-facing side of our house and be fine.
Yeah, both of our roof faces perfectly south and perfectly north. So the sides of the houses are east and west. And so it doesn't matter which way it goes during winter or whatnot, even if it's at a 20-degree angle, we still get a substantial amount of sunlight. And it's ideal on the house.
Yeah.
And we got the perfect angle of roof too. It's not pitched, high pitched.
Yeah.
It's a low angle. So bring that graphic back up. So this says 1 year of electricity requires 375 square feet. According to the EIA, not sure what that is, the average home in the United States will consume 11,040 kilowatts of electricity in 1 year. It may fluctuate higher and lower depending on your heating and cooling needs. Assuming the house is facing south, there's 7 hours of sunlight. It would take about 25 solar panels using panels with the average efficiency to fulfill those energy requirements, which would take about 375 square feet of roof space. I'm thinking the panels are probably 300 to 350 watts apiece.
The EIA is the Energy Information Administration, which is a federal agency.
So let's talk about this here real quick. I'll pull up Iron Edison. So there's 2 parts of this. So this is Iron Edison. If you never heard of an Iron Edison battery, look it up online. This is the battery that was invented by Edison, of course. And what it is, it's a battery that does not go bad ever. There are original batteries from Iron Edison that was originally made for the Ford Motor Company. back in the late 1800s, early 1900s that still work today.
Hmm.
And what it is it's a battery filled with nickel iron, and it's filled with an alkaline fluid. It's usually water mixed with, I say potassium bicarbonate. What do we use in our laundry?
Baking soda.
Baking soda. And what that does is creates a charge inside the battery. And there were electric vehicles before there were actually motor vehicles, but that never took off. And so these batteries would outlive us if we were to get them. And so a lot of people would turn to Iron Edison to sustain their house. That means they're not relying on the grid for electricity. They're completely off the grid and relying on their own energy. And so looking at this right here, I'm going to go down to, they got complete off-grid systems. If we were to get a system like this, if we would pay for it ourselves, that's what it looks like right there. That's a nickel iron battery. You can see through it. That's the nickel iron plates, and with the it creates a reaction in between those plates that causes the electricity to happen. And so, average cost for that system would be, where are we at?
I don't know where you're scrolling.
Right here. So take a look at this real quick. 11,000 kilowatts of electricity. So divide that by 12. It's roughly what, 900?
900 kilowatts.
Or 9 kilowatt hours. And so your average system is between 20. If we were to have it done, it would be this one right here, which is the 46 kilowatt Schneider solar lithium storage system.
Hey, that's more than our house.
Yes, it is.
Ah!
Really all depending on what you're looking for. The initial cost will be expensive. However, the longevity of the product will eventually pay for itself. Sure, you're paying $22,000 for a 15.4 kilowatt system to be totally sustainable, and you're making $450 payments on it every month, right? Because you take a loan or you pay for it outright. But if you're like us, we're paying $180 a month just in electricity bills for a 1,200 square foot house because our house leaks like a sieve. But we keep
it does.
We do hang meat in here.
He means we like to keep it cold. We don't actually hang meat in our house.
It would be good. Now, what you can also do is go for a on-grid solar
See,
system.
that's the big thing where we are now, and they have it where they'll come out and
they'll do an estimate on your house.
Yeah.
They'll say exactly how much it's going to cost.
And it's not super expensive, but you're tied to the grid.
Right. So
it's kind of, like, and I don't know how it all works. Like, I want to do it because I want to do it because I think it'd be good.
We wouldn't be able
long term.
Yeah.
But my thing is, if something were to happen,
we would not be able to rely on it.
But could we adapt it?
Yes, we could. Now we could buy a whole bunch of batteries, keep them in dry storage, keep them dry, and so they just sit there.
Yeah.
And whenever we need to use them,
when the time comes,
we can
make that
hook
happen.
up our own system. But so it requires too many batteries invented for maintenance. Cleaning panels, transfers boxes, whatever they are called. I totally swap electric bills with y'all. My house is 1346 square feet. Have you thought about using foaming insulation before installing your system?
Well, we need to re-chink our whole house and yes.
Yeah. Yes. No. We are.
Like, yes, to answer your question.
We are.
Yes.
We are posturing to reseal our house.
Yeah.
And
it was in our 5-year plan when we bought the house, knowing that within 5 years we were going to have to redo it.
We're in year 3 now, right? We're past year 2. We're going to year
We're like a year, 2.5. Christmas will be 3 years.
So it's in our 5-year plan to get that done as well. We have actually a lot of plans. And so let's say if you're the grid tied to the grid, all you really have to pay for would be the grid tie inverter and the solar panels on top. You're looking at roughly maybe $10,000 total. And most of that would be installed because there's specific companies out there,
Yeah, especially here in North Carolina, there
Tied to
are a
Duke.
lot.
which we use,
Yeah.
that would install that onto our roof for us. And not only are we benefiting ourselves, they are getting benefit because they're getting free electricity.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't get anything back from it. Honestly, we wouldn't.
I'm alright with that.
You okay, honey?
I'm
Zoned out?
Yeah, I'm talking. Don't
You are, but you're like looking at
I'm sorry. I'm not.
I'm just making sure you're
Yeah,
all right.
I'm fine. I'm just trying to focus.
Hey, Big Bear. Hey, Robin, if you're there. So, all right, let's pull this back up here. I swear to God, if this thing.
What the hell is that?
I
I like it a lot.
All right.
I don't know what just happened.
Yeah, no. This is what happened. I scrolled up and it went to the actually. I like it a lot. A Giphy.
It's a GIF.
Whatever.
It's a meme.
It's a meme. So let's get back up on here and hopefully it doesn't die on us. Just let it do its thing. Come on. You can do it.
I mean, we can keep going, Pat. It's fine. You're reading to them anyway.
All right. I think we're good. Maybe. I am reading to them from this. I can't read that from here. Can you read that?
No, but you can read it from there.
I'd love to, but
If you wish to add dairy to your diet, forget
it's
about
not
getting a
the same.
cow.
We're that's at the middle, and we're not there yet. So yeah, our computer is just this is really ticking me off because I restarted this before we started.
I can tell.
All right. So let's go ahead and talk this section here since it's the only section up and it's frozen. So moving down, you got meat, eggs, and dairy. And this is just really annoying. There we go. We're live. Maybe.
Well, you can read it now.
You can stop. All right. Here we are on the next section. Next section is calories for your family for 4 per day. 9,200 calories is what you're going to need. Requires 76,666 square feet. Maintaining a vegetarian diet of 2,300 calories per person per day requires 0.44 acres per person. That's substantially less than what most people think.
Yeah.
This includes fruits, grains, and of course vegetables. In the ideal setting, suitable farmland can also grow fruit trees to provide well-rounded diets. Some vegetables require much more land than others, including potatoes and cucumbers. And the next section here on this graphic is meat, eggs, and dairy. So for 1 year of meat, you need 207 square feet. That is tiny. If you wish to add a little bacon to your self-sustaining diet, then starting off with 3 pigs can feed a family of 4 twice per week for a year. If you wish to add some piglets to the mix, allow 9 square feet per pig or piglet. And that's a very tiny footprint. And so 1 year of dairy requires 100 square feet. If you wish to add dairy to your diet, forget about getting a cow, for they aren't not land efficient. Cows will cost about 1 acre per cow to be sufficient for that one cow. Think about Nubian goats instead. A Nubian goat can produce about 1,844 pounds of milk a year.
Okay, can I ask a question real quick? Who measures milk in pounds?
People who
and not liquid units.
Okay, liquid units is European.
Like a gallon.
Milk is yeah.
You buy a gallon of milk.
It's not like that. When milk is sold in the dairy in the United States, it's sold in pounds. just like grain. It's a farming unit.
But I don't, as a normal person, I have no clue how many gallons are in a pound.
You got a phone? Look it up.
I'm pretty sure Google's gonna tell me I'm stupid.
Keep in mind that goats, like cows, do require some grazing land and companionship. Yeah, you don't want just one goat. So let's go ahead and take a look at this here. I'm trying to go faster because when you get through this. I pulled up Craigslist. And so we got piglets here. Piglets will cost you about $50 a piglet. That's $150 for 3 piglets to be raised into meat for the year. And to butcher these will cost between
Free.
$200 and $250 to have it USDA butchered. To do it by yourself, it would be free packaging, so on and so forth. You're looking at $80 a pig with packaging.
Oh, I was super confused. I was like, you just said 50. Yeah. But you gotta figure if you're looking at the point, if you're to the point where you're having to sustain yourself a year, like you're already gonna have whatever storage or like smoker or what, like, so when it actually comes down to it.
Right. Or leading up to the point to where you will kill a pig, you will have acquired or built said thing. So what else we got here? We got Nubian dairy goats. So average price for a pig would be about between $50 and $120, depending on what time of season it is, and the price of meat. Nubian dairy goats will go between the cheapest you could find out there. You could really find these out there is $100, and between $100 and if you're going into the bloodline Nubians that are registered, you're looking between $450 to $600 per goat.
That's expensive.
It's very expensive. Nubia goats are multifaceted. They can provide dairy. They can provide meat. And
entertainment.
Entertainment. Absolutely. Let me try this again.
Thank you, Robin, for the poundage. And Doc, your cat's fine. He's asleep by the bird cage right now.
So right here we got fruit trees that are a part of it.
I think that takes up the most space. Would be the
fruit trees would take up the most space.
The wheat, like per single crop.
Right. So a year of wheat requires 12,012 square feet. It is the largest portion. The average person eats. It's just the average person 1.5 pounds a week. Wheat a week. That doesn't even make sense. Am I right?
No, it should be eats.
Yeah. So the average person eats about 1.5 pounds a week per week. In order to maintain that diet, wheat must be allowed for at least 3,003 square feet of wheat per person. If some of this wheat is going to livestock, you'll have to adjust for the extra. Now, when it says we eat at 1.5 pounds, we're eating not cornflakes. That doesn't make sense.
We're eating cornflakes,
we're eating
y'all.
Cornflakes
we don't even have cornflakes in the house.
You're eating bread.
Yeah.
You're eating cereal. You're eating tacos with tortillas and all this stuff. The wheat does add up as far as the ingredients.
But you also have to think that how you eat in a situation like this is going to change a little bit. Like, I'm not making cereal.
Right. You're going to adjust your fires to survive, not just be the way you are today. But this goes along the lines of to sustain what you're doing today. 1 year of eggs requires 65 square feet. We do this every year. A hen can lay anywhere between 80 and 300 eggs per year. The average American eats about 5 eggs per week. We eat a lot more. For a family of 4, eating 1,000 eggs in a year would require 13 birds to put scrambled eggs on the table every morning. That's about right. I would say that's about right.
Yeah.
Because we got 13 now. We had 14. So corn. Corn is another big crop. Requires 2,640 square feet for a year of corn. Corn is a multifunctional produce that is necessary when growing animals in your backyard farm. However, corn is not land efficient. You would need at least 2,600 square feet or more to produce enough for your family and animals They did not include corn in the final calculations, assuming instead that you'd prefer to buy bushels of corn feed that's actually cheaper to buy than it is to grow. So you'll need a backyard that is at least 89,050 square feet, which is about 2 acres. And if your family of 4 was willing to buy flour instead of growing their own wheat, it would just be 1.5 acres instead of 2 acres. Now, a few things I would add to this graphic if it were me, because, you know, there are things missing on it. Would be a water source? Do they have a well?
Well, that's, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but that's, yeah.
Right. It's going into the details. Do they have a well? Because if if all hits the fan, everything stops. You have a
You
water
need
source.
water. Yeah.
You have a pond. You have rivers nearby, moving water, a spring, something like that. And so water source is one thing. Natural gas was another one. So if there are places out there you could buy that have natural gas spouts that companies have gone out, tested the land, found natural gas, and are pumping from it, but that is also available on your land because you get the permission.
I know Doc Ferris has talked about a couple places like that.
In Virginia, and you could, in all aspects, have a small generator, have a couple hours of power each day, and not have to have a fuel source because you're going straight from the tap.
True.
Not bad.
True
right?
that, boo.
Wind power is another one for power. And of course, you can't do any of this without having seeds.
Yeah.
So if
that's actually a good point.
It's a huge point. If you're I'm gonna live off the land, I'm gonna grow vegetables and fruits, blah blah blah.
You have to start.
How many seeds you got there, buddy?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have any seeds, but before it happens, I will have it. No, get your seeds now. You can. We got seeds. We have a seed vault. Bam, right there. Look at that. Airtight. Airlock. Off. On. Airtight. And so, having multiple seeds is a good thing to have. Have enough to be sustainable.
Yeah.
Know if it grows on your land.
Yeah, that's kind of what we did this year. Was
how much corn did we get this year?
Like none. We got some, but we're keeping the ones that we could. They actually grew and produced something, and next year we'll propagate them again and go from there. But yeah, so that's kind of what we did this year. What's going to grow, what's not going to grow here for us in particular.
And so,
because there was stuff that grew at our Laurinburg house that did not grow here and vice versa.
True.
Some
corn did grow. Not enough to eat, not enough to make a full ear, but it did produce corn that we can save for seed because it's heirloom and it's a second generation corn, which means that corn is more adapted to our soil than the previous generation. So we'll grow that corn, and that corn's going to grow more corn, and it's going to be a little bit better. And then that generation will be
20
better.
years from now, we'll actually get a full ear of corn.
Full ear of corn. And you'll hear it right here on Tuesday Night Live. And so we'll be happy toothless people by then.
No, I'll have my teeth.
Okay. Well,
you will not have your teeth.
Sure it's not. So, what do you think of the importances of getting fruit trees?
So, I don't know. Chip talked about that, about planting dwarfs. We have grown fruit trees, but that's something that if you want fruit, you should have started 10 years ago.
Yes, that's true.
And so we didn't start 10 years ago, so we still don't have fruit.
Any mature homesteader or farmer will tell you the very first thing you need to do when you get land to farm from is
plant fruit trees.
Fruit trees. Guarantee it. Very first thing. Now, if you need to get ahead of the curve, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost me. It's going to cost us to get ahead of the curve.
Yeah, because we're probably going to end up having to buy
so there's two companies.
real trees and not grow our own.
two companies that I know of that do this. So you got Willis Orchard Company, and you got Fast Growing Trees. I think it's fastgrowingtrees.com. Willis Orchard sells this thing called an instant orchard, and what they'll do is they'll take your zone. They'll have a green check mark on everything that can grow in your zone. This is pawpaw, guava, jujube, goji berries, cherries, apples, apricots, pears, bananas, and all the things that can grow in your zone. It'll have a check mark on by it. If it can't grow it, it'll have an X mark by it. But what happens with these is we'll go to say apricots. Apricots is a good preserving fruit, right? You dry them out and they stay dry, and as long as they stay dry, they'll stay preserved. So I could check on the first apricot that's available, and they'll have something called an instant orchard. So as this says, to give you an example, this is an 8-foot tree that you get in the mail. It's a 1.5 caliper, which means if you look at it straight on, it's at least 1.5 inches thick. Tree that gets shipped to you on a certain date. It is expensive. This one tree is $109.95. However, it's called an instant orchard for a reason. That tree is at least 3 to 5 years old and it's already proven to give fruit. So when it's put into the ground, it will provide fruit for that year. And don't forget, folks, when you plant trees, more than likely it'll need a pollinator, and you'll have to get a second tree to get the other tree to grow.
Yeah, that was something I had to educate myself on. Because some will pollinate themselves, some will not. Some of them have to have certain other ones to. Because I tried to buy apple trees,
different
and
breeds.
They can't breed with this one, but they can sexy up this one, and I never knew that growing apples was so damn complicated.
Right, and so Fast Growing Trees is the same thing. This company is more streamlined, and you can tell by the graphics it's more used. It's more it's more commercial. They sell the same type of trees because it's obviously fastgrowingtrees.com. They guarantee their product. Some people say you get what you pay for. This product is 100% guaranteed, depending on what you get. Doesn't matter what you get, and more than likely everything is already growing in fruit. They actually guarantee it. So look into something like that. Those trees will cost between $100 and $400, depending on what you really want.
I was like, is it going to open?
Probably not. The next.
Those were not on there.
Bees were not on the graphic. I think bees are important. Don't you? You need a pollinator for all this stuff that you're growing, right?
Well, then, but you also have to look at that. Like, yeah, okay, you have all this stuff. Like, you have your grain, you've got your corn, you got your wheat, but you have no sweetener,
right?
Like for the honey and stuff like that. Like
sweetener, but yeah.
But it's not like include. You know, like
you can grow stevia or sorghum or cane sugar itself.
Yeah.
But honey,
it doesn't go bad. Like to me is
it's important.
Better option.
It's a pollinator, guys. If you guys really want a good place to this place is local to us. It's here in our town. The owner of is named Calvin. He's been running this company for 9 years now, and he's well educated, and his supply shop is great. Megan worked with Calvin directly, and their prices are pretty darn good compared to most places. And so when we started our beehive that Megan got us, you worked with Calvin directly. He hooked you up. And we had some parts missing or something like that.
So what it is they have this kit on their website. And so I walked in and I was like, hey, it's not for me. It's for my husband. I'm completely clueless. This is what I want to get him. This is the price on the website. Can we do this? And they were like, yeah, sounds great. Well, they didn't have everything. Like they sell it as a kit, but they just like go around the store and like collect. It's small business. They just go around and collect all the bits and pieces. And and he was complaining about the newfangled website and stuff like that. Like, and so they didn't have some stuff. So he literally wrote down on a piece of paper, I owe you this, and this. And he was like, check back in like a week. Well, and if it's not there, we'll see why it hasn't been shipped yet. And went back in, like 10 days later, handed him my sheet, and he was like, oh, yeah, we got all that stuff now.
Right.
And that was
So
it.
That's midnightbeesupply.com. They do great. They have great products. They're very well versed in what they do, and their shipping rates are decent, and their prices are really good. So that was the graphic. We added a few things to it to make it better. Chip signal says you can. I see pineapple plants. You can grow those from the pineapple tops that you get back from the store. So when you get your pineapple, you eat it, keep the top, grow another plant from that. We've tried to grow pineapple before.
It didn't work.
Out.
Yeah.
Those
we were still in Italy though.
Yeah.
Damn Italian pineapples.
I got some notes here. We're gonna go through them quickly because we're actually running out of time. It's almost 9:50.
Yeah, you fought with your computer for a while.
I did. It was a struggle. So let's talk about crops that you should grow. These are high calorie crops that you should be considering growing. You should be growing now to test them to see how they do in your soil, what you need to do to grow them. Also, another thing that wasn't on that graphic was a greenhouse.
Yeah.
We have one. Swear by it. We grew all of our plants from
We
seed,
started everything from seed this year.
and everything grew.
So, and we kind of had space in it. Like, we didn't compact it and make sure, like we had everything kind of laid out. And so, in terms, I feel like that is so far behind what we're actually talking about right now.
It's possible.
Okay.
There's a delay.
But it just seems more significant than normal.
Right.
But yeah, so greenhouse is great.
So self-sufficient gardening, you have 17 staple crops. This is according to morningshores.com. You got your easy storage crops. These are the crops that are going to last the longest in a
root cellar,
which we talked about last week. Check out our last week's live show. We did it last Thursday.
That's a good one.
It was a good show. We talked about root cellars, what you need to do, the expense for root cellar, and
how fantastic and how
redneck and how fancy
pretty much, yes,
you want to make it. So your easy stored crops are going to be your potatoes, your sweet potatoes, your tubers, and your squash. So squash, hard squash, winter squash, like butternut squash and spaghetti squash. Squash is the acorn squash. They will last a long time on the shelf inside a root cellar. Some up to 6 months. And the point of that is to get it through winter, to get you sustained through winter. So these are going to be your primary staples during the winter time. So these are important for you to learn how to grow in your location.
And it sucks if you don't like squash.
I love squash.
I do not.
I bet you can learn to like it.
Well, if it's between that and dying, yes, I think I could learn to like squash.
Yes. The next category is called continuous harvest. This means you can continuously grow it. It grows well in a cooler climate. Stop shaking. In a cooler climate, but will grow regardless of what time of year it is. If it's too hot out, you just have to watch it so it doesn't bolt and take off on you. But that would be beets, carrots, turnips, and radishes. You can turn around a radish in 3 weeks. If you're dying right now and you can live 3 weeks on what you got, radishes should be the first crop you're planting to have at least something to eat within 3 weeks' time.
Remember the radishes we grew before? They were so spicy.
The watermelon radishes.
Yeah.
Yes. They were very spicy. But I think if we got them again and we pickled them, they'd be
better.
More mellow. Leafy greens be your lettuce and other leafy green alternatives. Rocket, arugula,
lettuce,
corn salad,
yeah,
so on and so forth. Added for taste and flavor crops, that'll be garlic and onions. These are crops that take 6 months to a year to grow. So
not to rely on as a food, but
immediate food source. But if you're already learning how to grow them, something happens, you'll have them there. You can also dry them and keep them in jars or whatnot. Fall vegetables include parsnips, leeks, and cabbages. Those are vegetables that are most agreeant with the temperatures of cooler weather.
I feel like some of the lettuces and stuff are too.
Yeah, I believe so too. Field crops, corn, sunflowers,
Legumes.
legumes,
I like
wheat,
that word.
and
Something that's not on that list.
what's
Tomatoes.
so we'll get to that.
Just kidding.
She said tomatoes. I'm going to go ahead and skip past this one part here so we can talk about tomatoes real quick. But she brought it up. And she hasn't seen my notes yet, so we'll talk about
I
that.
have not. I like sweet potatoes, sort of. Depends on how they're prepared. Like, I can't sit down and eat a sweet potato like a baked potato because it's fibrous and it's weird to me. But if I can cut one up and make it into a french fry, like even baking it, like not even frying it, but like literally doing the same thing just in a fry shape, and I'm totally okay with it. So
Right.
I don't know. I'm weird.
So tip number 3 is choose your non-staples wisely. Tomato is considered a non-staple food. After you have determined your staple crops, so you can add some food just because you love them. Many people see tomatoes as a staple because they're delicious. Multifunctional and can be water bath canned for simple storage. For self-sufficiency, from the self-sufficiency
From a self-sufficiency
perspective, though, they are calorie light and take up a lot of room and tend to be high maintenance. And so, to answer your question, is no, tomatoes are not a dense calorie food. So it's a secondary. But
I don't know. To
we
me,
would grow them anyway. I mean, if you grow so many tomatoes, you
yeah.
can still eat a lot of tomatoes and get your caloric intake.
Yeah, but my thing is, like, you have to have, like, you're not just going to be eating squash and corn.
Right.
Like, you have to.
Every day. What's for dinner,
I mean,
right?
they do still
Squash
have
and corn.
vitamins and stuff in them that would round you out.
Right. And of course, it would be stretched out too. It's everything else. We would have meat. We would have vegetables. We would have rice. A lot of rice, right? So they've got tips in here. Tip number 1 is plan sufficient. I can't do these S words anymore. Sufficient space. Depend on who you ask, what you eat, and growing methods. It takes between 1/4 to 2 acres of well-managed fertile land to feed your family of 4. You can start small and expand annually. However, if food self-sufficiency is your goal, then be realistic in your space planning.
See, I think that's our problem.
Everything's spread out.
Well, then, like, things get clumped together, and then it's like, well, damn.
Yeah.
Like, because we just don't go in and do everything all at once. Like, we start in one area, and then we're like, oh, let's put this over here. And then we're like, oh, let's put this over here. And then we're like, well, shit, we didn't use that well at all.
Well, here's
Like, tell me I'm wrong, though.
You're not wrong. Here's our problem. Our problem is we are just starting out. We've been doing this for 6 years, but the 2.5 years that we've been doing it full time, it's a huge learning curve to learn what works, what doesn't work, and what programs work. Like, I guarantee you, if we went to a more permacultural approach, you keep yawning.
I'm tired.
I know you're tired. Like a permacultural approach is they have zones.
Yeah.
You have your immediate zone. These are things you're going to touch every day. And as you go out, your stuff is further out.
We just didn't zone very well.
So I got 2 growing boxes outside. Imagine if they were full of veggies right now. You'd only have to
eat more
step out. Yes, we would, because we'd see them. But it's literally
that's a good point.
10 feet from the kitchen.
But then I'm like, it's right in the middle of my damn yard.
Right, but a yard is something of the past during this time frame.
But that is something that I struggled to get my mind around. Like, I came home from work today and mowed the yard because it needed to get mowed.
Right.
And your damn boxes were in the way of the mower.
Yeah.
But, because they're empty boxes right now. But it's like, I don't know what it would look like if we had, like, an actual grid system, something like what Big Bear has, because I think it's beautiful.
Right.
So I don't know.
Choose easy storage, high calorie crops: potatoes, sweet potatoes, winter squash. Staple crops that those that will provide most nutrition and calories are the foundation of a self-sufficient garden. Before you get carried away by delicious descriptions, figure out what you need to grow to feed your family. And it's not about what you want; it's about what you need to eat in order to live.
Yeah.
So you eat squash or you starve. I think you'd eat squash.
Probably.
So, uh, talks about succession planning, uh, high density planning. That's planning in a grid. Uh, leafy
Like
greens,
the square foot, but on an axis.
leafy greens for nutrition. Different vegetables for colorful vegetables for your different vitamins and everything like that. Maximizing space. Talk about fall vegetables, parsnips, leeks, and cabbages. And
So we don't have we don't have a lot of room for like the field crops,
Right.
The wheat and the.
But we could make room if we just cleared some land. Let's say
Yeah.
something were to happen. I'm going to the neighbor going, look, your driveway, which is on my property, is my land. We're going to turn this into a garden because we don't have any open space like that. And that
Yeah.
would go for wheat
That is true, and corn.
and corn and everything like that because it gets exposed to the sun all day. Tip number 4, grow staple crops like your life depends on it. Make that challenge for yourself and just use one thing. Like, by golly, if I don't grow corn this year, we're going to starve. I'm going to make every effort possible to make that corn work and do what I have to do to find out what actually works. So one day when it does happen, when it does hit the fan, I go, I can grow that corn. We're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm rushing through this.
No, it's fine.
So, I believe that's it. And we come right up onto our 10 o'clock hour. Of course, we could go on and on about this.
One thing that's not mentioned either is herbs.
Herbs is not on there.
And I know you're going to be like, it's not a staple crop because you're not going to fill yourself with basil.
Which
However,
is delicious, by the way. We had caprese salad yesterday.
Yes.
I went out to the front yard. Actually, it's the front porch. So what I did, I've got hanging plants on all the rafters of the front porch, and every hanging rafter plant is a different herb, and it's done well.
it actually really has. You haven't done a whole lot.
I
to
haven't
it.
watered it
Yeah,
at
like,
all in the
They're
past.
doing their thing, and
I went and pulled basil.
God, the whole house smelled like it. It was wonderful. But I'm saying, like, there's also, the medicinal purposes and stuff like that. Like, it's not just the caloric intake. Like, you want to be self-sufficient for your family. You have to think about what that means for your family.
Right.
Yes, it doesn't matter if you can fix a wound if you're dead because you have no potatoes.
Yeah, Robin says she loves her kitchen garden.
I know, I saw it. But it's just, I don't know.
Yeah. Chip, I'd love to learn it. I'm thinking about trying peanuts just because it's apparently an easy plant to grow and very dense in nutrients for sure.
I don't see why we couldn't.
I don't see why we couldn't either. But yeah, so again, as always, we're just setting the foundation for you folks. We're just giving you some ideas on what you can do to better prepare yourself for what lies ahead. What does lie ahead? We don't know.
Who knows?
Nobody knows. But something is always going to happen. Murphy's Law, if it can, it will go on. Regardless of what happens in life.
Irregardless.
Irregardless. It's an actual word now.
Is it? No.
It is an actual word.
It is not a real word.
It is a real word.
It will never be a real word.
And so,
but yeah, start now.
Stop thinking about yourself. Think about your family and what you need. Sorry.
No,
like she said, start now.
Because it's not just like the fruit trees. Like, it's seriously, like, I wish we would have seriously started when we first moved back.
I agree.
And we did not.
We did grow. You go back to the old house, the pear trees are fully grown. There's peaches on that tree right now.
Peaches on the pear tree?
There's peaches on the peach tree. There's pears on the pear tree.
Well, you said the pear,
And,
and then you said peaches.
Doves sitting on a platter. I don't know.
I don't know. But yeah, like I wish we would have been more into it. I wish we would have gotten chicken sooner. I wish we would have branched out sooner.
Right. Well, you can wish
But
you
I mean,
one
we
hand.
did what we could as we could, and that's all you can do.
Right.
But at the same time, now I'm like, it's not that hard to get seeds, or it's
Right.
not that hard to do this, and you know, a
Here's-
lot of that's the mindset.
Here's an example. We had a garden this year. How much of that garden did we actually eat?
Almost none of it.
Almost none of it. You know why? Because I planted one section of each type of.
It was more of like
plant.
seed
Seed propagation.
propagation than anything.
I did pull a lot of seeds off of what I grew, and it grew fast and it grew well.
Yeah.
And but it was also an experiment to see what grows and what doesn't grow.
Yeah.
And it turned out really well. There's still Swiss chard in the back that I
Mhm.
haven't pulled yet.
The beets are in there too.
The beets are in there as well, and they haven't bolted yet. So when they do, I'll pull seeds off of those. But the point of this year's garden, while we still have it, have everything,
Yeah.
was to test everything to see what grew, what didn't grow. And so my challenge
Like
to
for
you
us,
guys,
that was a learning step that we needed
Exactly.
to take.
my challenge to you guys is to find one, or get one of those staple crops we just talked about. So let's start with radishes, or if you want to get further into it and want to wait longer, go into garlic. We've grown garlic before too.
Yeah.
Learn how to do it. Do your research on it and grow that one crop, and you'll be happy to learn specifically for that one crop how to completely grow it from beginning to plate. And so, you got anything else to add?
Not really. Chip's clearing out a few acres in the fall.
It's fantastic, Chip.
He said he'll send videos.
Sweet. He's in Florida. If you want to go visit,
Northern or southern?
north towards Glenn's house.
That might actually be doable.
It might actually be good. We go to Florida, Chip. We're going to stop by your house, say hi, and help you out. We're already talking about. We're going to be going to see Robin and Jason again in
Couple weeks. Whoop whoop.
a month.
Which is a group of weeks. Hi, Charles.
Women measurements.
They don't want to see your booty.
The other day we were there, and we'll be there in a couple days, which is a month and a half away.
It's a month away.
What else?
The
Anyway,
1st of August is tomorrow.
I'm Patrick.
Yes. No, 2 days from now. I'm Megan.
If we're the Breakaway Homestead. If you have any questions, email us.
Ask him. Because I got nothing.
breakawayhomesteader@gmail.com, and send me an email. Put it in all caps because I do get a lot of email traffic as far as other channels and stuff like that, because we do connect a lot with other channels, homesteading channels. At least I do anyway. And put it in all caps. Say hi. See what's going on. If you want to send us anything in the mail,
Letters,
letter,
anything.
like that, we'll respond to you. The address is
P.O. Box 736,
Bass
North Carolina.
28394. Folks, if you try to go on our website, it's not working. We have put down our website.
I made it sound so horrible.
I know. We shot it down. Our web host that was Wix.com said we were at our maximum limit for the group that we were in, and I'm not paying $60 a month for a web page because of a limit of space. And so we're going to find a different platform. Our web address still stays the same. We own that outright, at least for another year. And
Can you still see the old content?
No.
Oh,
if
it's
you
all.
go to it, it might show up. It might not. I don't know. But we will have that new website up and running as soon as we can get up and running. But it probably won't happen until winter.
Later. Yeah.
So my wife wants to go to bed, and we're going to end this podcast. So you guys have a good night. We'll see you next Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you guys have a good one.
Yeah.
Get out there and grow some stuff. It's still time out there to,
Play in the rain.
to get some
Dude.
stuff.
It's supposed to rain this week.
Oh, Okay.
So
right
we're gonna
now,
play in the rain.
if you plant it right now, you can still get another crop of corn. You can get watermelons, and then start planting your winter gardens
Fall.
and fall gardens. So, good night, y'all. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.